Padaya Kṛṣṇa Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Asachari Satarine Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Hare Krishna Sadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Guru Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It's time for Kṛṣṇa book, which is the summary study of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's a summary study by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna. So we can begin to appreciate and sense the personality of Godhead. He appeared 5,000 years ago and displayed certain pastimes and activities that help us to understand about the spirit of devotion and the personality of Godhead, who we are. We're not these bodies, we're spiritual beings. We're only temporarily in an earth suit of one form or another. Like when people go deep sea diving, they wear one of those big things, or they won't go to the moon, right? And they wear a space suit. Well, this is an earth suit. We need one of these if we're going to be here on this planet. We need this kind of a outfit. But we're only here temporarily, and this helps by hearing these messages of Godhead and personality of Godhead and what's going on in the spiritual atmosphere, which is not temporary, it's a permanent. There's no birth or death, there's no old age, there's no disease. Inconceivable to us. Oh, it sounds like a fairy tale. We're living in the fairy tale. That's the reality. We're living in a dream, a temporary dream. That's actually the reality, the spiritual atmosphere is actually the reality. Hare Krishna. This is an illusory experience because it's temporary. And it's full of ignorance and darkness and entangles a living being in what's called a cycle of birth and death, where they take one body after another body after another body, being entangled by the reactions of their activities within the material world. It's called karmic reactions. Actually, karma just means activity. It's a Sanskrit word. It means activity. So activity in and of itself doesn't necessarily have reactions, good or bad results. If it's in relationship to Kṛṣṇa, there's no karmic reaction. So sometimes the word karma is seen as the bad thing. But no, it's karmic reactions. We're going to be engaged in karma one way or another. We're going to be active on the spiritual plane with no material reactions, binding us to repeated births and deaths within the material atmosphere due to the karmic reactions of our activities. Or we're going to be entangled by karmic reactions in the material plane. So Kṛṣṇa has karma, which means Kṛṣṇa has activities. There's no entanglement in the illusory atmosphere. Anyway, let's hear about Kṛṣṇa and his karma-free activities. Hare Krishna. Hearing about Kṛṣṇa is karma. It's karma, because what is our activity? We're hearing. But it's karma-free. A karmic reaction free. There's no karmic reaction. It's pure karma. I think I've got that right. But what do I know? If I'm wrong, I'll know soon enough. I don't claim to be, a perfectly realized soul. But I do have a taste for looking at these things and trying to understand them, not under my own powers of intellect, forget that, but through the scriptures, through the teachings, and whatever realizations I may be fortunate to have whenever I have some realization of Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa consciousness, God, the personality of Godhead. So we were reading chapter 57, 5 queens married by Kṛṣṇa. He already has 3, now that he's taken up his position in the ruling class of Dwarka. Dwarka is in the district of Mathura, but it's a capital city, Dwarka. And evidently Ugrasena is the ruling king of the whole Mathura district, but within that district there are capital cities and kingdoms. And so Kṛṣṇa is in the district of, he's in Dwarka. And now he has 3 queens. First is Rukmini, he kidnapped her. Then he came home with Jambavati, the daughter of Jambavan, who was given to him as a gift. And Satyabhama, she was also given to the Lord by her father, Satyajit. So now Kṛṣṇa's gone to Hastinapur to see what's going on with the Pandavas, and it has been revealed that they're fine. They weren't killed in the fire set by Duryodhana. Family. And he was a cousin that wanted to kill his cousins, the Pandavas, so he could get the throne and rule Hastinapur. Family members. Families can be rough. Sometimes when a parent who has some assets passes away, then the children all fight. They try to steal assets from each, whatever the father left, to be divided amongst his children, they fight. They don't want the other brother or sister, whoever, to get anything. And they fight. And sometimes, things are done. Family members, they might take out a big insurance policy on, like, a wife or a husband, and then poison them so they can get the money. Sometimes they even take up insurance policy on a child and kill the child. There are cases of that. So family, it can be rough. Family can be rough, very rough. In the material world, it can be really rough. So here, these cousins, they were always trying to kill their cousins, the Pandavas, to get the kingdom. Kill them. I want the kingdom. I want to rule. So it was found out that the Pandavas and their mother Kunti were not killed in the fire set by Duryodhana. So Krishna is visiting Hastinapur to see how everyone's doing. He spent some time with Kunti, and she offered beautiful prayers to the Lord. And now he's visiting Yudhisthira. Yudhisthira says, he's the oldest of the Pandava brothers. He says, my dear Kṛṣṇa, we do not know what sort of pious activities we have executed in our past lives that have made you so kind and graceful to us. We know very well that the great mystics, who are always engaged in meditation to capture you, do not find it easy to obtain such grace, nor can they draw any personal attention from you. I cannot understand why you are so kind upon us. We're not yogis, but in the contrary, we are attached to material contaminations. We're householders, dealing in politics, worldly affairs. I do not know why you are so kind to us. Yudhisthira speaking, so heartfelt love for Kṛṣṇa. Being requested by King Yudhisthira, Kṛṣṇa agreed to stay in Hastinapur for 4 months during the rainy season. The 4 months of the rainy season are called Chaturmasya. During this period, the generally itinerant preachers and brahmanas stop at a certain place and live under rigid regulative principles. Although Lord Kṛṣṇa is above all regulative principles, he agreed to stay at Hastinapur out of affection for the Pandavas. Taking this opportunity of Kṛṣṇa's residence in Hastinapur, all the citizens of the town got the privilege of seeing him now and then, and thus they merged in transcendental bliss simply by seeing Lord Kṛṣṇa eye to eye. So Kṛṣṇa is not an ordinary human being. He's the Supreme Personality of God. It has nothing to do with the material world. But from time to time he will appear here, but his body is completely spiritual. He is not covered by the material energy. So sometimes the citizens of Dwarka, they would see Kṛṣṇa eye to eye. Kṛṣṇa. And they merged in bliss, simply seeing Kṛṣṇa eye to eye. One day, while Kṛṣṇa was staying with the Pandavas, he and Arjuna prepared themselves to go to the forest to hunt. Both of them sat down on the chariot, which flew a flag with a picture of Hanuman. So the Kshatriyas, they would hunt and kill animals, wild animals, tigers, lions, dangerous animals, because they had to practice their fighting skills, their archery skills. They were warriors. And I believe something auspicious was done with the animal when it was killed. It was offered in some kind of sacrifice or something like that. I can't remember, maybe Prabhupada will give us the details. I remember reading that somewhere. So they went to the forest to hunt, and Arjuna's chariot had a flag with a picture of Hanuman on it. Hanuman. That's another Leela of Kṛṣṇa, that's Ram Leela, Hanuman. Arjuna's special chariot is always marked with the picture of Hanuman, and therefore his name is also Kapidvaj. Kapidvaj. Kapi means Hanuman, and Vaj means flag. Kapidvaj. Always marked with the flag of Hanuman. So I'm looking for a picture here of this chariot, but there isn't one. Thus Arjuna went to the forest with his bow and infallible arrows. He dressed himself with suitable protective garments, for he was going to practice killing many enemies. He specifically entered that part of the forest where there are many tigers, deer, and other animals. Krishna did not go with Arjuna to practice animal killing because he doesn't have to practice anything. He's self-sufficient. He accompanied Arjuna to see how he was practicing, because in the future he would have to kill many enemies. After entering the forest, Arjuna killed many tigers, boars, bisons, gavayas, a kind of wild animal, rhinoceros, deer, hares, porcupines, and similar other animals which he pierced with his arrows. Some of the dead animals which were fit to be offered in the sacrifices were carried away by the servants and sent to King Yudhisthira. Other ferocious animals such as tigers and rhinoceros were killed only to stop disturbances in the forest. Since there were many sages and saintly persons who are residents of the forest, it is the duty of the Kshatriya king to keep even the forest in a peaceful condition for living. Arjuna felt tired and thirsty from hunting, and therefore he went to the bank of the Yamuna along with Kṛṣṇa. When both the Krishnas, namely Kṛṣṇa and Arjuna is sometimes called Kṛṣṇa, as is Draupadi. Sometimes Arjuna is called Kṛṣṇa, and sometimes Draupadi. I wonder why. I wonder why. The name Kṛṣṇa, I've heard roughly translated, if it's possible to translate it, means Krish, birth and death, and Na, no birth and death. So Kṛṣṇa, one who has no birth and death, one who can deliver one from birth and death. Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa, no birth and death. Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa, no birth and death. It also refers to blackish or dark. Krishna's complexion is compared to a rain cloud just before it rains. So I'm wondering why Arjuna is called Kṛṣṇa and Draupadi sometimes Kṛṣṇa. Well, they're great devotees. A great devotee is, you're connected to Kṛṣṇa if it's making a connection, surrendering, or taking the shelter of a great devotee. They're also, because they're connected to Kṛṣṇa, they're maybe, I don't know why they're called Kṛṣṇa. Hare Krishna. This is going to take the chanting of Hare Krishna to a whole nother level. Hare Krishna. I have to process this. Where's Madhu? Madhu, why is Draupadi and Arjuna, why are they called Kṛṣṇa? Why? Come on, where are you, Madhu? You see this. Help! Madhu's he's the gopher, beaver. he comes up with all the research. It's amazing. When both the Krishnas, namely Kṛṣṇa and Arjuna, reached the bank of the Yamuna, they washed their hands and feet and mouths, and drank the clear water of the Yamuna. While they were resting and drinking water, they were on the bank of the Yamuna? Where was this forest? Bank of the Yamuna. Where does the Yamuna flow? Doesn't say which forest they went to. The bank of the Yamuna. That's in Vraj. Of course, it's a river and it flows. I'd like to know where the river Yamuna starts. How could they be on the... Anyway, they reached the bank of the Yamuna. Yamuna tira vanachari. They washed their hands and feet and mouths and drank the clear water of the Yamuna. While they were resting and drinking water, they saw a beautiful girl of marriageable age walking alone on the bank of the Yamuna. Kṛṣṇa asked his friend Arjuna to go forward and ask the girl who she was. By the order of Kṛṣṇa, Arjuna immediately approached the girl, who was very beautiful. She had an attractive body and nice glittering teeth and smiling face. They said that about Rukmini also, that her teeth were very beautiful. So, nice beautiful teeth. Hare Krishna. So, makes a woman very attractive, nice beautiful teeth, and a smiling face. Arjuna inquired, "My dear girl, you are so beautiful with your raised breasts. May I ask you who you are?" Krishna. That was then. They could talk like that then, 5,000 years ago. I don't know about now. "We are surprised to see you loitering here alone. What is your purpose in coming here? We can guess only that you are searching after a suitable husband. If you don't mind, you can disclose your purpose. I shall try to satisfy you." The beautiful girl was the river Yamuna personified. She replied, "Sir, I am the daughter of the sun god, and I am now performing penance and austerity to have Lord Vishnu as my husband. I think he is the supreme person and just suitable to become my husband. I disclose my desire thus because you wanted to know it." So she wants to unite with Vishnu, which is Kṛṣṇa, but in a little different form. So let's see what happens. She's focused on Lord Vishnu. So let's see. Kṛṣṇa is right there. Let's see what happens. The girl continued, "My dear sir, I know you are the hero Arjuna. So I may further say that I'll not accept anyone as my husband besides Lord Vishnu, because he is the only protector of all living entities and the bestower of liberation for all conditioned souls. I shall be thankful if you pray to Lord Vishnu to become pleased with me." The girl Yamuna knew it well that Arjuna was a great devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa, and that if he would pray, Kṛṣṇa would never deny his request. To approach Kṛṣṇa directly may sometimes be futile, but to approach Kṛṣṇa through his devotee is sure to be successful, she further told Arjuna. Yeah, you see that in Chaitanya Leela also, that in order to enter the more intimate kirtans, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and enter into the association, it was one of the devotees who was already in the kirtan in the association with the Lord, who would bring the person in. To approach Kṛṣṇa directly, he doesn't say it's impossible. He says sometimes it may be futile. But to approach Kṛṣṇa through his devotee is sure to be successful. He doesn't say it's impossible to approach Kṛṣṇa directly, but it may be futile. But to approach Kṛṣṇa through his devotee is sure to be successful. She further told Arjuna, "My name is Kalindi, and I live within the water of the Yamuna. My father was kind enough to construct a special house for me within the waters of the Yamuna, and I have vowed to remain in the water as long as I cannot find Lord Kṛṣṇa." The message of the girl Kalindi was duly carried by Kṛṣṇa by Arjuna, although Kṛṣṇa, as the supersoul of everyone's heart, knew everything. She's the daughter of a river personified. The daughter of the river Yamuna. Without further discussion, Kṛṣṇa immediately accepted Kalindi and asked her to sit down on the chariot. Then all of them approached King Yudhisthira. Okay, so after this, accepting Kalindi, Kṛṣṇa was asked by King Yudhisthira to help in constructing a suitable house to be planned by the great architect Vishvakarma, the celestial engineer in the heavenly kingdom. So Vishvakarma is the celestial engineer in the heavenly kingdom. Kṛṣṇa immediately called for Vishvakarma, and he made him construct a wonderful city according to the desire of King Yudhisthira. When this city was constructed, Maharaj Yudhisthira requested Kṛṣṇa to live with them a few days more in order to give them the pleasure of his association. Lord Kṛṣṇa accepted the request of Maharaj Yudhisthira and remained there for many days more. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So he's making a point here that to approach Kṛṣṇa directly may be futile, but to approach Kṛṣṇa through his devotee is sure to be successful. Approaching Kṛṣṇa through devotional service. Ultimately, there is no other way to approach Kṛṣṇa except devotional service. Only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you. And the perfection or the personality of devotional service, in its highest, purest form, is Srimati Radharani. So ultimately, it's always through a devotee to approach Kṛṣṇa. And that works at all levels. That works at all levels on the way to Kṛṣṇa. I'm remembering one pastime from Mahabharata. It's one of my favorites, although that's hard to say. There's so much in Mahabharata. Srila Vyasadeva wrote Mahabharata for people like me. He wrote for the less intelligent because it's all stories. and action. And you get the philosophy and the teachings and the Krishna consciousness through story form, like you do with children. Hare Krishna. So naturally, I like Mahabharata. He wrote it for me. Women, less intelligent, laborer class. Hare Krishna. So this is one that really, really sticks out. It's what happened to Sukalavya. Sukalavya wanted to take instruction in archery from Dronacharya. Dronacharya was the spiritual master of Arjuna for military arts. And Dronacharya wanted Arjuna to be the greatest archer ever. He would need to be, because there was this huge battle coming, the battle of Kṛṣṇa, and Arjuna would have to be, no one would be able to defeat Arjuna in archery. It had to be like that. It was Krishna's arrangement. But Sukalavya, he wanted to be the greatest archer. And he approached Dronacharya to learn archery, and Dronacharya refused. No, I can't accept you as a student. No, I can't. Sukalavya was determined. He performed austerities, and he created a murti of Dronacharya. And in the forest, he worshipped the murti, and he practiced archery as if receiving instructions from Dronacharya through the murti, the deity form. And he worshipped that murti just as if Dronacharya was sitting there instructing him in archery. And he learned archery, at least on a level with Arjuna. I can't remember whether they say it was more, he was more proficient or whatever, but he became an amazing archer, which Dronacharya did not want. So one day Dronacharya and Arjuna, they were in the forest, and Arjuna was being instructed in archery, and Sukalavya was there. They didn't see him, but he was practicing his archery, and it was either a dog, I think it was a dog, poor thing. Sukalavya shot arrows in such a way that he closed the dog's mouth. And the dog was, of course, not very happy, of course. And they saw the dog like that with the arrows. Arjuna and Dronacharya understood that whoever had been able to shoot arrows like that needed to be stopped, because Arjuna had to be the greatest archer for the service that he would have to do. So Sukalavya came before Dronacharya and offered his obeisances. "Oh Guru, oh spiritual master, thank you so much. I've taken instruction from you in the way that he did without Dronacharya even knowing." And Dronacharya, he had to stop it. He congratulated him on his achievements. And then he told him, "Yes, so you have become a wonderful archer. This is terrific. You're a very good student. And as a student, as a disciple, you have to offer some dakshin. You have to make an offering to me to make this complete and perfect, to actually be my student." So close. "Oh, anything. Oh, Guru, yes, I give you anything." So Dronacharya asked for his right thumb. Which means that's it for archery. Without a thumb, you can't bow and arrow, no thumb. Sukalavya gave him Islam. So when reading that, to approach directly may sometimes be futile, but to approach through his devotee is sure to be successful. So I kind of see in that case of Sukalavya, he was trying to approach directly, but it was futile because he didn't go through the proper channels. He did, Dronacharya, he didn't do it the right way. He tried to do it directly, and it was futile. So without the blessings of the spiritual master, even if somebody becomes proficient in something, it's futile. But he did get the mercy of Dronacharya. He did get the mercy, just not the way he had hoped for. Kṛṣṇa. A little bit more here about Yudhisthira. So Yudhisthira asked Kṛṣṇa to help see that they had constructed a suitable house. Vishvakarma was called. He's the celestial engineer. And the house was finished. And Kṛṣṇa stayed for a few days more. In the meantime, Kṛṣṇa engaged in the pastime of offering Khandava forest, which belonged to King Indra. Kṛṣṇa wanted to give it to Agni, the fire god. Khandava forest contained many varieties of drugs, and Agni required to eat them for rejuvenation. Agni, however, did not touch Khandava forest directly, but requested Kṛṣṇa to help him. Agni knew that Kṛṣṇa was very much pleased with him because he had formerly given him the Sudarshan disc. Who knew? The fire god needed to eat a forest to rejuvenate. Who knew? The fire god needed to consume a forest because there were drugs, the materialistic view of these activities is so different from the transcendental view. You see a forest fire and everybody's out there with fire hoses and trying to stop it. But here, he needed to eat the forest. There's a whole different way of understanding things. So Agni, the fire god, knew that Kṛṣṇa was pleased with him because he had formerly given him the Sudarshan disc. So I'm sure there's an account of how the fire god gave Kṛṣṇa the Sudarshan disc. So that's how he got the Sudarshan disc. The Sudarshan disc is a personality. He's not some just, like Frisbee or something. It's actually, Sudarshan is a personality. So in order to satisfy Agni, Kṛṣṇa became the chariot driver of Arjuna, and both went to the Khandava forest. After Agni had eaten up the Khandava forest, he was very much pleased. This time he offered a specific bow known as Gandiva, 4 white horses, 1 chariot, and an invincible quiver with 2 specific arrows considered to be talismans, which had so much power that no warrior could counteract them. Okay, so that's how Arjuna got his chariot and his bow Gandiva and his white horses and an invincible quiver, 2 specific arrows considered to be talismans. All right, dictionary time. I want to get a little clearer understanding of what a talisman is. Kṛṣṇa. Typically inscribed ring, thought to have magic powers and bring good luck. Okay, someone's here. I hear them ringing the bell to pick up something, and we'll continue at another time. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare.